The conversation continues and the man from the company tells the protagonist that according to the law, having this kind of thing at home is not good and asks if he has encountered anyone dangerous. Zong then replies that it's something similar, that the guy has weapons and has offended important people. The protagonist then decides to throw a bait and tells the man that the project costs 8 million to avoid future problems and asks if with this price, the weapons will not be a problem to obtain. Seconds later, the man says they will finish the protagonist's house project in 15 days and will inform if they manage to get any weapons. Zhang thanks him and says he will be waiting for the news. The protagonist then thinks to himself that at the moment he needs to make a visit to the hunting club, since it is a place that will help him obtain melee weapons. Later, at the hunting club, after a long conversation where the staff questions if he is really going to hunt to get so much equipment at once, the protagonist, standing next to his car, tells them not to worry since he will call some friends to go with him, and they will be able to show their hunting skills. The protagonist in his car with the armaments says that it's good he has a hunting license, so he doesn't have to worry about the police. Seconds later, Zong gets out of the car after hearing a conversation between two people. One of the men, addressing the other, says he cannot let him pass without the owner's permission with so many things like that. The protagonist then approaches and tells his uncle Yu that the things are for him and that he can let him in. He then asks if it is food and what he has been buying to come in dozens of trucks like that. The conversation continues, and seeing many trucks, he asks how so many things will fit. Zhang then says it is from the Shanghai Tower Hotel, a 5-star hotel, and that their banquet table is very expensive. Upon learning about these purchases, his uncle suspects he is hiding something. Meanwhile, some girls say that Zhang is really a rich boy. One of them, with an interested look, says that if he is really rich, she will need to do everything she can to take advantage and give him a gold digger blow. Meanwhile, the protagonist is driving the truck to stop next to the underground warehouse and be able to unload there. Right after, the protagonist notices the interested girl and in his thoughts curses her and says that if she thinks she will get something, she is mistaken, as he will make her suffer a lot before killing her. Shortly after opening the door, Zhang receives a message from a person saying that all the food has already been unloaded. Zhang thanks him and says he will look and check. The protagonist then goes to look and is amazed at the number of boxes there are. In his thoughts, while sending to another dimension, he says he will send all the ready and hot food to the storage space, plus the ingredients they send. He finishes by saying he will always have food to enjoy and can remove it from the storage space whenever he needs it for the rest of his life. The next day in his apartment, preparing things, meanwhile outside, two people are talking about Zhang leaving the market with so much food and that he is crazy to buy all that to waste since it will all expire. They end by saying that Zhang seems to be preparing for the end of the world. Zhang then on his cell phone views the message from the security company saying that in 3 days they will manage to get it with the manager, but it may be a bit expensive. The protagonist then replies that this is not a problem and that the important thing for him is that it is a good quantity. Then off the cell phone, he informs one of the workers that he will need to leave and leaves the apartment renovation to them. As he leaves, he says that in a month, all these guys will beg for food. Shortly after, at the South China pharmacy, the protagonist is discussing with the manager Zhou needing a large quantity of emergency medicine. But before he finishes completing his sentence about getting more medicine, the man in the suit says that the protagonist cannot use his power for personal gain. Before finishing, the protagonist says he will pay double the market price to ensure they come out winning. The man then says that the protagonist is good with words, and thanks to his hard work, they will get in touch to ensure things are ready by the next day. The protagonist, very happy, thanks him and says he will send the amount soon. He then leaves and arriving at his warehouse, he thinks to himself that he has food, medicine and tools, and with that, he already has enough to live for many years. While adjusting his cap, he finishes by saying that for security, he will need to empty the place a week in advance to avoid problems.